What do we have left? So let's label this here. We have this 1/2 inch hem as well. We're going to call this the side. Okay, this is a side. We know it's 1.5 inches tall because it's 1.5 inches here. This here is going to be a side. Okay, that's 1.5 inches side as well. And then this is going to be 1.5 inches side as well. Okay. So even though we don't have this drawn, we know our next measurement is going to be from this line going up 1.5 inches. Now, we can do a couple things. We can do the math. So I could put up here 5 1/4 plus 1.5 inches. Let's start that route because there's a couple different ways to do this, right? So we're going to write 5 1/4 or $5.25 if we think of it in change, plus 1.5 inches plus 150. Okay, would be 5 plus 2, 6, 7, 7, and then nothing to carry, so 5 plus 1 is 6. So at 6 inches and 75 cents, we could do that. Now, we could roughly sketch here and put a measurement at 1.5, but we still want to measure off the side, so we could check our work here. I'm going to put here a little dash, and let's see if that measures 6 and 675 from the edge of my sheet. So I line this up. This is our little guesstimate. Okay, 0 on the bottom. And are we at 675? Right here? Very, very close. I'm going to make a little micro adjustment because maybe my last line was a little bit crooked. So, but this is where we're looking at. And actually, you know what? I think it is pretty doggone good. There we go. All right, 6 and 6.5, 6 1/4, 2/4, 6 3/4 is the same as 675 or 6 3/4. So if I do that on the right side, I want to move this over, and at 6 3/4, I want to put a line on this side of my paper as well. 6 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Let's put a little dash right there and connect these lines going across. Okay. So there's my side. What are we missing? Just like on the bottom, we have a side and then a 1/2 inch hem, a side, a 1/2 inch hem, a side here. Let's do the side and a 1/2 inch hem while we're at it. So we had 675. What would be another 1/2 inch? Plus 50 cents, right? $0.50 is 50 cents. Would be 5 plus 0. 7 plus 2 is 12. Carry that 1 up to the 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So 7 1/4 inch. Sorry, my yellow dot was covering there. 7 1/4 inch from the bottom of my paper up to here will give me a 1/2 inch. If I put a measurement at a 1/2 inch to the 0, that should also be 7.25. Let's check. Okay. Line up my 0 on the bottom, go up to the top, and we are, let me zoom in, 7.5. Here's 7 1/4. It is very close. I'm a little high. So let's just make this a little bit lower. 7 1/4. I do that on the right, slide it over, do the same thing over on this side. 7 1/4. And then connect those two lines, and this is going to give us our top hem. Okay. We're almost done. We got this side to do. We got here 1/2 inch hem. 1/2 inch. Okay, my double quote hem. And we need to do this side. So from here to here would be 1.5 inches. I'm going to do this as a guess. We also knew that this was from the edge, this was 8.5 to here. So this was 8.5. So 8.5 plus 1.5 should be, let's see, $8.50 plus another $1.50 would be $10. So here we go, 8.5, 9, and then an inch is 10. That lines up well. Put one towards the bottom here. Put one up here towards the top. Okay, and connect the lines. And in reality, we only have to have a hem from here to here. Okay, if you want to do it top to bottom, that's fine. But really, we only need to have that hem going from here to here. And this was 10, so that's the bottom of our hem. We know that hem is 1/2 of an inch, so we can go from 10 to 10.5, and that would be where we cut this metal off. So we're not going to use the whole sheet. This sheet is 11 inches long. Our piece is a total of 10.5. Okay, and we can connect those lines. So there is our box so far. What we're going to do is we're going to come back. What are we looking at for time here? That's fine. Let's just finish this up, and I'll do it all in one video. I know it's getting long, but what we're going to do now is these 4 tabs. Okay, we have some measurements here on the tabs. Let me zoom in. We basically only need, see if this will let me, this measurement here. So I'll try to get a little closer here. There we go. So this tab, the purpose of this tab is we're going to fold that over and have a place to put some screws or some spot welds or some rivets in here. We'll put some holes in there. But we need to draw a line from this side of the box out 3/4 of an inch. Now, because this does not affect the overall size and shape of the box, this is just a tab that's going to be hidden off. I'm not as worried about the accuracy of this tab. So instead of measuring back all the way from the left and having to do the math, we're going to measure right off of this line for the edge of my box, okay? And just add 3/4 of an inch. So how does that look on my paper? Okay, I'm going to draw a line from here over here, 3/4 of an inch. So this is where I want you to start using a little bit of thought process, because here I'm changing the rules up a little bit from where we did before. But here's 3/4 of an inch, right? Here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So I'm going to put a line there. Now I could put a line here, but we know that we need a tab on the top, and we need an identical tab down here on the bottom. So I need to draw a line basically from here to here, right? From here down to here, and I skip the middle of the box. So let's see if this makes sense. So here's my one at 3 1/4. I'm going to do my second one down here at 1/4 of an inch. I'm sorry, 1/4 of an inch. So same process. Here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Okay. And I'm going to put a little tick mark. Now I'm going to connect these lines from here to here, but I'm going to skip this middle part where the yellow is. So line up my ruler from top to bottom. I'm just going to make a line from here to here, skip this, and then make a line from here to here, which is going to reflect this line and this line. So these are going to be our tabs. Now, we notice here that this tab sticks out 3/4 of an inch, but this back side of the tab is 1.5 inches, right? We have this measurement 1.5 inches, and the front side of the tab is 1 inch. So think of this, $1.50 minus $1. How much do we have left over that this is shorter? 50 cents, right? 1/2 of an inch. But it's not going to be a half on the bottom and a half on the top. We have to split that 50 cents. If we split 50 cents, it would be a 25 cents here on the top, 25 on the bottom. So we're going to lower this 1/4 of an inch here, plus 1/4 of an inch. So 1 inch plus 1/4 plus 1/4 is 1.5. Okay, $1 plus 2/4 is $1.50. So what we're going to do, I'm going to line up my ruler over here, pull this down. Okay, so I have 1.5 inches. We want 1 inch in the middle, but we're going to cut out 1/4. Right here is 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to put a little mark here. I'm going to measure up from the bottom here, which is 1.5 inches. I'm going to measure and subtract 1/4 of an inch off the bottom. And this should be an inch. I'm going to double check it by sliding my ruler down in. 0 to 1 is very close to an inch. That's as accurate as we need to do. I'm going to connect that dot to here, and I'm going to connect this dot to here in order to give us these two little angles. Okay. What these are is they're relief cuts, so that when we bend this tab over, okay, this part of the box won't get caught on the side when we bend it up and over. This will not stick out because we trim this back. It won't stick out of the top for us to get cut on this sharp corner. This is going to be down into the box. That's the whole point of this. We can change that angle, but we want all the angles on our part to look the same. When we cut this out now, this is going to be waste in here, okay? We're going to cut this off. This is all getting cut off, okay? This is everything that's dark here is going to get cut off and removed. Okay, so this is all waste. And this is also waste. Just want this drawing to start to make sense of how it's going to look when we cut it out, because we want it to cut out and look exactly like this. All right, so all of this is getting cut off, and then up here on the top, this is all getting cut off. Okay, and this is the part that we're going to keep, this hem. Okay, and the sides. Now, if I drew that here, I can do the same thing. I'm going to come down 1/4 of an inch here. I'm going to come up 1/4 of an inch. Mark those out. So I'm going to put a tick mark at 1/4, and here from 1 1/2 back is 1 1/4, and then connect those lines to my intersecting points here. Since they're typical, we can go just around the horn and do that on all 4 of our tabs here. If we remember, this was 3/4 of an inch, so I'm going to redraw this. I'm going to put a line at 3/4 of an inch here. I'm going to do the same thing here on the bottom at 3/4 of an inch. I could check 0 to here is 3/4. Perfect. Let's connect these. Skip this middle section when I connect it. Okay, so I have a top line, boom, skip the middle, and then the bottom, here to here, connect. And we're going to bring this down 1/4 of an inch and this up and make our little angles here. So here is 1/4, here is 1 1/2 minus 1/4, 1 1/4, and draw those to these 2 intersecting points. We are almost done. Let's finish up strong, okay? You got this, okay? Here, this is going to be waist. This here is waist. This is waist. This is all waist. Okay. We keep our hems, our sides, and we can label these tabs. We can keep our tabs, tab, 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 and we have this last one to draw here. Let's draw this out. 1/4 and 1/4. Connect. Let's label this. So that's one of the advantages of labeling. When you do this on your sheet metal, you don't want to accidentally cut across here and cut your hem off or your side off. That inevitably happens most times for 1 or 2 students every year. Okay, want to keep this as accurate as possible. And then for our assignment for paper, what I want you to do is I want you to take this when you have this far. This is where I'm going to, remember, we're keeping this hem, so this is my cut line here. This is my waist. And this is one of the things that students usually cut off. So don't cut this off. This is where we cut right here. We're going to clean that tab out. And what you're going to do then is I'm going to hand out scissors, or you can come and get them off the table. And we're going to cut this up. So hopefully your drawing looks accurate. If you have or need any help, let me know. And we'll see where you might have gone wrong or where you need a little bit of extra help. Go back, rewind the video if you need to. Okay. But But next step was we're going to cut this out and we're going to check it with our go, no go gauge and see if your measurements are accurate enough and whether or not you are ready to get your piece of sheet metal to start laying things up. All right, thanks for joining me in this video. Look forward to seeing you in class, and have a great day.